Welcome back to Just the Facts About Prediabetes, Session 1, and this is Part 4. In the last video, we talked about the impact of the DPP study and how that affects your goals for physical activity and healthy eating. In this video, we'll get to the meat of your goals, and we're going to talk about the importance of healthy eating in more detail and setting some goals about increasing your physical activity. So let's jump in. So what does healthy eating mean? My recommendation is to consider this a healthy eating plan, one that is sustainable for many years and decades to come. To be frank, I'm not a big fan of the word diet or diets for several reasons. One, most diets are a program that you start and then you stop, and that implies it's not a lifelong habit, but a short-term solution with the possibility of regaining weight. Secondly, most diets are restrictive and hard to follow, which again means that they are not sustainable long-term. And lastly, diet is a four-letter word and it should not be used at the dinner table. But seriously, let's start with a basic plan. And on the next slide, you will see what we recommend and different ideas to fill your plate. For more information, come back for Session 2, because then we'll talk about the role of fiber, the role of fat. We'll talk about some lean protein options, and we may even have some time to take a deeper dive into some of the current diet trends that are out there. Remember earlier on in the videos that we were talking about carbohydrates and how they provide fuel for our body. With prediabetes, we do need to consider how many carbohydrates that we're eating. And so we do want to pay attention to how much grains we're eating. That could be bread, rice, pasta, or tortilla. It could be some of the starchy vegetables. It could be milk, yogurt, or ice cream, and it can be fruit. But let's head to the next slide that's got the image that goes into much more detail. The plate image is a good visual to help you eat healthy, whether you're eating at a restaurant, a buffet, a holiday party, a potluck, or at home. So first of all, we want you to focus on about 50% of your plate being non-starchy vegetables, at least at lunch and dinner. Breakfast sometimes is a little bit tougher. This does mean that some vegetables contain more starch, and we'll talk about those when we talk about the foods that are higher in carbohydrates. For some ideas on vegetables, especially if that's not your favorite, we did post a handout on the website that lists several different vegetables by season. If you buy vegetables in season, they tend to be less expensive. Also, consider buying frozen vegetables. Several of the grocery stores in town, including Harmon's, Target, Walmart, and Smith's, and Dan's, they have some great opportunities to buy frozen vegetables and that are just as nutritious as your fresh ones, but at a much lower cost. So then let's move on to the protein. If you look at the lower right-hand corner, we always encourage people to consume protein at each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sometimes even a snack. Most Americans get enough protein, but we don't necessarily spread it out, or we don't always make the healthier choices. Healthier choices for lean protein include chicken, turkey, fish, salmon, tuna fish, eggs, cheese in moderation, or lean cuts of pork or beef. It may also include tofu, a small amount of nuts, seeds, and also legumes. You'll see in the fine print on that image that we do want people to minimize the processed meats. It's not that they're bad foods. We just recommend that you decrease how much you eat and how often you eat them. Maybe they become more like treat foods, like once or twice a month. Some processed meats include sausage, bacon, pepperoni, and salami. And since they're higher in saturated fat and sodium, remember that with having prediabetes, it does increase your risk of heart disease. And so we recommend the leaner protein choices. So that remaining 25% of your plate, this is where we suggest that you put the healthy carbohydrates. So let's review some of those food groups. So the first food group is the whole grain. This could include bread, pasta, rice, crackers, tortillas, several different types of grains like quinoa and couscous. When choosing these products, we always recommend that people choose whole grain. It has higher fiber in it, and it helps prevent such a spike of blood sugar and also helps you feel a little bit more full, so then you'll eat less carbs and keep your lean protein in portion size. That second food group of foods that are higher in carbohydrates are your starchy vegetables. These include all potatoes, corn, peas, and beans. The type of beans here are legumes, and so we are discussing lentils, red beans, black beans, chickpeas. They're a great source of plant protein and they're healthy for you. We just want to pay attention to portion size. That third food group is fruit. Fruit is really good for you. It contains many nutrients, including fiber. We do recommend that you keep it maybe under about 2 cups a day because fruit is higher in sugar. We also recommend that people don't drink fruit juice because it's straight sugar without some of that fiber. So my favorite saying is, eat your fruit, don't drink it. And then the last food group that's higher in carbohydrates is the milk, yogurt, and ice cream. Again, there's many nutrients in the milk and the yogurt, especially Greek yogurt. It has a lot of protein in it, so it's a nice choice for breakfast. We just want to be careful with how much that we're having. One thing also to think about when you're looking at this plate is, what is the size of the plate? We recommend keeping the plate to about 8 or 9 inches. It will help you keep your food under healthy portion controls. Also, think about your drink. If you are drinking regular soda or sweet iced tea or lemonade or fruit juice, think about swapping that out with carbonated water or plain water. You can put a slice of fruit in any of those. You could try raspberry and mint. You could try mint and cucumber. And there's lots of great carbonated waters out there. Just make sure, some of them do have some added sugar, so make sure you're reading that label. Other versions are, you can do herbal tea, hot or iced, same with black tea or green tea as well too. Lastly, we just want to talk a little bit about treat size and frequency. Again, I had referenced life is too short never to have chocolate again. Depending on where your activity is, if you're less active, meaning only once or twice a week, maybe you only have 1 or 2 small treats a week. If you're more active, maybe you have a small treat every other day. So a typical treat size, I normally say, is about 150 calories. And it could be one of those little snack size candy bars that they pass out at Halloween. It could be half a cup of ice cream or gelato. It could be 2 small cookies. Think of your typical Oreo size. For some people, it may be more savory items. It may be a cup of tortilla chips. Or if you're enjoying pizza with a nice big green salad on the side, I would consider pizza a treat, so maybe that's your treat for the day or for the week. Let's move on to activity. Let's move on to the topic of activity. This can be any movement that you enjoy where your heart rate is at a moderate pace. There are many opportunities each day to find movement to help with weight loss and to lower the blood sugars. Some daily activities include vacuuming, raking leaves, clearing snow from the driveway, walking the dog, or walking to and from the parking lot to the office. Other options could include brisk walking, riding a bike, swimming, dancing, boxing, fitness classes, anything that's getting your heart rate up. So there are 2 things to focus on. The first is the moderate heart rate, and the second is to keep the heart rate up continuously for 12 to 15 minutes at a time. So what does a moderate heart rate mean? This means if you're walking with a friend and you're talking, you should need to pause mid-sentence to catch your breath. If you can talk easily or sing, it's great that you're walking and not sitting. But if your goal is weight loss, we need the heart to be pumping at a moderate rate to help with weight loss and to lower the blood sugar. Secondly, it's important that when doing these activities that your heart rate is at a moderate pace continuously for 12 to 15 minutes. Some of our patients experience frustration that they're walking or reaching the 10,000 steps a day, but they're not seeing weight loss. It may be that their heart rate is not at a moderate level for that continuous 12 to 15 minute period. Many patients ask us about other housework, such as dusting and laundry, doing dishes, etc., or other activities like yoga, stretching, lifting weights. All of these activities are very important. They contribute to overall movement and to maintaining or building strength. However, if you're only doing these activities, they may not be enough to reach your weight loss goal. Keep these movements in your daily and weekly habits and add in the cardio in 15-minute bouts. Remember, for weight loss and to lower the blood sugar, it's really important to have the moderate heart rate and to have the duration component. So the recommended activity at a moderate rate for weight loss is 45 to 60 minutes 5 times a week. This seems like a big number some days. The good news is that you can be moving in 15-minute bouts versus trying to do everything at one time. So for example, we had a patient that would walk 12 to 15 minutes from the parking lot to her office building, and then she would walk anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes at lunch, and then another 12 to 15 minutes back to her car. So within her normal workday, she was able to find 3 different times to help her reach her overall goal of 45 to 50 minutes that day. So where's your current activity? If you're just starting out, consider walking briskly for about 15 minutes a day. Start there, and then each week you can add 5 minutes to the week. So for example, you can see in that first week, the person walked 4 times at 15 minutes each time, and then the next week they added in a day, so they're walking 5 times a week, and they moved up to a 20-minute walk. The important item to focus on is moving and doing something you enjoy. It's important to spread the activity throughout the day and the week versus saving it all for the weekend. The body needs daily movement, and the heart is healthier with moderate activity every other day or most days of the week. So where do you want to start? I think we're ready to set some goals, and then you can work on those, and then you can come back and take session 2. Thank you for watching today, and please wrap up the Session 1 series by watching the last part, Part 5. This part will help you set some SMART goals to help you achieve your overall goal of preventing type 2 diabetes.